Happy New Year, my movie peeps! Another year just went by, and now entering 2024, we've got a lot of movies to look forward to, so let me tell you the ones I'm most anticipated for. I don't want this to just be about my list, though. I'm very curious what your most anticipated movie of 2024 is, because you know what? I'm like half and half right now. I'm like, this is gonna be a banging year. There's some good ones on there, and now I'm like, that's all we got this year? That's it? Like, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 might make it on the list, y'all. It feels like there's a lot being released, but at the same time, not a lot. I'm like super jumping up and down. Like, just take a look at the comic book movies being released this year. Like, let's be real, there's really only one on that list I think we actually care to see. And well, just right before going into my most anticipated list, here's a couple of my honorable mentions. I'll be putting the posters on screen. These were movies that, yes, I am looking forward to, I'm hyped for, but they just couldn't squeeze into the top 10. Some of these might actually be on your most anticipated list, and hey, I don't blame you, because these do look like exciting movies. Alright, enough yapping, let's just get straight into the list. Starting off with number 10 was a movie I had in my most anticipated for 2023 until they broke my heart. Coyote vs. Acme. I had hopes that I would be seeing this movie last year, and well, it was a roller coaster ride of this movie getting released, because we found out Warner Brothers was contemplating making it a tax write-off. And although we still don't have an official release date for this movie, one of the voice actors who does a lot of the tune work, Eric Baza, he tweeted out saying, "See ya in 2024, making it seem like Coyote vs. Acme has found a home, and we will be getting this movie sometime in 2024. I'm a giant Looney Tunes fan. I've just always loved those characters in that world, and when we found out this movie was being canceled, a lot of people in Hollywood who weren't attached to the movie came out and said that it was a really fun ride, it was sweet, it was a good Looney Tunes movie, and I was so scared to think we might never see this thing, but I'm glad 2024 will be the year. Now, please don't let me regret this or even jinx it just because it's on my list this year. Number 9 on my list might surprise some of y'all. The Karate Kid. Oh, I don't care what you think of the Karate Kid franchise. I love it. And we had heard that Sony had been interested in wanting to make a new Karate Kid movie, and even just that alone didn't mean it was going to make it to my most anticipated list. It didn't reach to that level of hype until they came out with a video with Daniel LaRusso and Mr. Han together, Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio combining the two different Karate Kid universes all into one. How could I not be hyped for that as a Karate Kid fan? I'm still curious to see what the eventual plot of this movie will be, if they're still going on the route of having the kid be the one that trains an older person into karate. I know some people are against that, but I'm open-minded to see how that could work. You know, are there going to be any mentions of Jaden Smith's character and what he's been up to? Are we going to have scenes where Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan are interacting? I don't know, like, I'm genuinely curious. I love the Cobra Kai universe, I love the Karate Kid movies, I love that remake with Jackie Chan. This announcement kind of blew my mind, and now I'm really looking forward to what could easily be a terrible movie. We don't go into the new year with negativity, we go in with positivity. Number 8 on my list, The Wolfman. There was a time that whenever Hollywood would try to be making new horror movies based off the Universal monsters, whether it be Frankenstein, Dracula, The Invisible Man, you could just pretty much expect those movies were never going to hit the right way. But with The Wolfman, this is basically Blumhouse's big horror movie of 2024. They have it set to release right the weekend of Halloween. They're getting Leigh Whannell to direct this movie, which already to me super pumps me up because he did a fantastic job with The Invisible Man. The premise this time around, where it's just going to be about a family at a cabin in the woods where like some creature is lurking and stalking them, that's a simple enough premise, but I think there will be a lot of fun in there. I'm mainly putting my faith in this movie with Leigh Whannell, and you know, I just like it when Universal monster movies are actually done justice. Sometimes they try to go too big and too grand, or they turn them more into action movies than horror movies, which I think is what they were trying to do with like the Tom Cruise Universal Monster Universe. A simple horror premise done effectively can go a long way, and that's what I want from The Wolfman. Number 7 on my list, Terrifier 3. Art the Clown is coming back not just in a Christmas themed horror movie, but he'll be releasing Halloween weekend, and it's always exciting just to have a horror movie you're looking forward to for that season. Art the Clown has basically hit the mainstream, and there's a real argument to be made on whether he's a new horror icon that we can all look up to. I really enjoyed what they did with his second movie, although I have kind of my gripes and things got a little bit weird. I was still completely amazed with what Art the Clown could do to the human body, how he can totally disgust me and actually be a horror icon that scares me. If I ever saw Art the Clown in a dark alley, I am running the opposite direction because I do not want that man to get his hands on me. And you know, with this third movie, they're promising more controversy, more things that are going to spark up a conversation. Is, you know, Art the Clown going to do that to a kid? Who knows? Kind of hope not, because I would want this franchise to be more than just shock value, especially since in this third movie, I need them to answer a lot of the questions they raised in the second movie that they just didn't answer. Number 6 on my list, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. We are continuing with the Planet of the Apes franchise, now kind of being owned by Disney, but still connecting to the past 3 Planet of the Apes movies that we've gotten, 2 directed by Matt Reeves. Standards are set pretty high, okay? Matt Reeves did some fantastic work in those films, set up a lot of great character development, made me really appreciate the Planet of the Apes universe when I was never that big of a fan of the Planet of the Apes. But this time around, they're going to start us off with a whole new story, set 300 years into the future. An ancestor of Caesar is going to learn about his legacy and his place in this world. You know, Disney is hoping that they can make another trilogy, so the storyline here is really what's going to sell it, because I think effects-wise, everything is looking pretty much in line with what the past Planet of the Apes movies were. So I'm just kind of really hoping this new movie doesn't ruin the streak of great Planet of the Apes movies that we've gotten, because I adore that first trilogy, and I would love to get another trilogy that is just also really breathtaking. Number 5 on my list, Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. While Godzilla Minus One set standards unbelievably high for what a kaiju movie should be featuring Godzilla, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of digging what Adam Wingard is doing with the kaiju universe. He's almost treating it like a Saturday morning cartoon where they're just going a little goofy with it, but in a really fun and just entertaining blockbuster way. The boys are back in town, Godzilla, King Kong, and they're facing off a new big threat. The action scenes are really what's going to carry this movie and have me going back to rewatch it. I'm not expecting much at all from the plot, the human subplot. I want as much kaiju action as possible, specifically from my boy King Kong. The moment I saw in the trailer they gave him an enhanced arm or this cast because his arm gets broken in this movie, I was like, yeah, Adam Wingard just gets it. I just want to have fun in this universe. I don't need something as serious and grounded. Let Godzilla sprint if he wants to this bad guy once the punches start flying. We're just having all a good time. It should be really hard to like mess up the entertaining fun you could have with a Godzilla x Kong movie, so let's really hope they don't mess it up. Number 4 on my list, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. How is anyone not excited to see Sonic, who is now friends with both Tails and Knuckles? They're in this universe, they got well established in the second movie, and now they're about to face off one of the most popular Sonic characters, Shadow the Hedgehog. Oh, I am expecting things to go off the roof in this movie. Just imagining the fight scenes between Sonic and Shadow, I can't even fathom what that's going to look like. I thought they did a great job with the Sonic vs. Knuckles scenes. Imagining a scene where Shadow goes up against the 3 of them, hey, he could literally wipe the floor. I'm also curious just how they plan to kind of elevate the Sonic universe, because I was hoping by now we would be off Earth and visiting all these other planets that are within the Sonic universe that they've teased. I'm also curious if there's any other surprise characters that are going to show up in here. Like, we have no idea if Robotnik is part of this third movie. Jim Carrey says he's retired, but who knows? This might be one of his last roles. Also, Metal Sonic. I would love a Metal Sonic appearance in there. Is Shadow going to be holding his Glock and pointing it sideways at the screen? I really hope so. Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 has a lot going for it, so I can't wait to see that one. Moving on to the big 3 here, starting off with Saw 11. Man, I can't believe I have a Saw movie in my most anticipated list. I had it in me that I was done with this franchise, that they were just not going to make a good sequel, but Saw X really turned things around. It reminded me why I was a fan of this franchise, why I like the games, the crazy storyline that gets twisted and complicated as every movie went on. Saw X kind of simplified things, but enhanced a lot of the storytelling with John Kramer, with Amanda Hoffman. Saw 11 has the potential to carry on and give us a solid trilogy if that's where they're headed in, because you know they want to just make Saw movies again every year, but we have seen this time and time again. It's happened like 3 or 4 times in this franchise. We get one really awesome Saw sequel, and immediately the second movie is utter garbage. So although I'm excited, I am prepared to be disappointed as a Saw fan, because it's happened before. Number 2 on my list, Alien Romulus. Man, we are getting a brand new Alien movie, and although I was enjoying what Prometheus was, Alien Covenant was, I felt like they were just picking at straws. It's really cool what they tried doing with the Alien franchise and dissecting a little bit of the history and where the xenomorphs came from, but I feel like the focus of what Ridley Scott was trying to do with that trilogy got lost in translation. The audience wasn't jiving with it. So then seeing how Disney found success with their Predator reboot Prey, that I, again, think is awesome, and I hope we get a sequel to that, they're taking those same basics and applying it to a xenomorph. We're getting a basic Alien movie where it's just going to be about a xenomorph crash landing on some random planet and these young adults just start fighting off against it. That is the simple basic horror premise we needed. This is being directed by Fede Alvarez, who I think is a great horror director, and it's been so long since I've seen him do something. I know he's gonna bring back the horror, the suspense, and even just gory action of what xenomorphs can do to people. And number one, it just became obvious, Deadpool 3. I didn't think I would have this at number one. Someone asked me on the live stream the other day, Chris, you're gonna have Deadpool 3 as number one, right? And I was like, no, I think there's probably other things I'm excited for. Looked down the list of 2024 movies and I said, yeah, I guess it's gonna be Deadpool 3. This is the only comic book movie I also have on the list. This year is gonna be a dry year for comic book movies. Essentially the only MCU/Marvel movie. The rest are spin-off Elseworld stories. Right now, the comic book genre is really dying out, okay? You can feel the public interest is just not there, and Marvel just churning out basic MCU movie after basic MCU movie. I think people are tired, but Deadpool 3, which could be titled Deadpool and Wolverine, I think has all the makings to kind of not save, but show that hope of why we go to comic book movies. It's still going to be a continuation of the last two Deadpool movies. Ryan Reynolds is fantastic in that role. We have a real shot to a nice trilogy. They've managed to convince Hugh Jackman to return, and he's in that awesome yellow and blue spandex suit. Like, come on. Do not mess this up. This isn't just my most anticipated movie, it's the movie I most don't want to be effed up this year. The comic book genre has been doing a lot of annoying things with just focusing on just wanting cameos or Easter eggs, references, building up to the larger universe, and while we have heard rumors of all that kind of stuff involved with Deadpool 3, I'm hoping at the end of the day, it is just a fun buddy cop movie with two of the most iconic superheroes just multiverse hopping and having a good time. I've also loved how the behind the scenes they've mentioned they wanted to shoot a lot of this movie in real world places, minimize the amount of green screen, which is why we were getting a lot of leaks and photos. The same way Across the Spider-Verse and Guardians of the Galaxy 3 for 2023 were like comic book movies that reminded people why we love them. I'm hoping for that with Deadpool 3, but man, it could easily go south, but that's not gonna happen, right? It's gonna be a banger of a good time. But anyways, guys, those are just my most anticipated movies of 2024. I'd really love to hear from you guys, especially also, which movie on my most anticipated list do you think is gonna suck? Or is there a movie out there no one is talking about that you're like, you should keep your eye out for this one? I love to hear it all from you guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.